Greetings, Exalted Ones. Versatile Element here, and welcome to the first upload of my newly rebranded secondary YouTube channel. This used to be called Versatile Element Streams, where I was just live streaming video games in general, but that experiment throughout the first half of this year didn't turn out well, so here we are with Star Wars Element, where I'll be making a variety of general Star Wars videos and even Star Wars video game content here on this secondary YouTube channel. Occasionally, I will still have Star Wars video game live streams on the main channel. Moving forward, all new Star Wars produced videos will be here on Star Wars Element, so feel free to subscribe if you want to see more Star Wars content from me. But with that all being said, let's get into the topic of this video. As of the recording of this video, on September 5, 2023, Patch 7 has been released for Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and finally, EA and Respawn, it took you guys over 4 months ever since this game was released to finally get this game running and in the stable state that it is now, which before we get into that major change Patch 7 has brought in, let's go back a little bit, a few months ago on April 28, 2023, when this game has launched at a really broken state, which has unfortunately been typical, especially for modern AAA video games, with so many glitches and performance issues, especially when it comes to the frame rates being unstable and all over the place on both consoles and PC, but especially for PC. In fact, this game was supposed to release back in March 17 and a whole 6 weeks earlier, which that was St. Patrick's Day of all days, but then got delayed again 6 weeks, which was fine for me personally because it gave an extra 1.5 months, a month and a half to save up for the game. And while Star Wars Jedi Survivor may arguably not been as broken at launch as, say, Cyberpunk 2077, Battlefield 2042, or Fallout 76, Star Wars Jedi Survivor might have well been borderline as broken as those games. But alas, the one major change that has finally been brought into Star Wars Jedi Survivor due to Patch 7, thanks to Patch 7, is for performance mode, particularly on PlayStation 5, since that's the console I play Star Wars Jedi Survivor on. Now the game runs at a solid 60 frames per second on performance mode, which the patch notes also mentions that the in-game cutscenes and game cinematics will still run at 30 frames per second, but outside of that, for performance mode, solid 60 frames per second. Which is a major, again, I can't state this enough, a major upgrade to this game for Patch 7, and that has been the fix that pretty much everyone has been waiting for since launch. And that's because, like, while the game runs on Coruscant, at least, tends to run at a mostly a stable frame rate, when it came to Kobo and the Shattered Moon, man, those planets used to lag so much with frame rates all over the place. You know, sometimes the frame rate may be a little smoother, but most of the time, the game was just lagging on Kobo and Shattered Moon in particular, as well as frame tearing, very frequent frame tearing that's very noticeable, even if you notice it just for a fraction of a second at a given moment. And admittedly, I will still be doing more testing and playing around with Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Even then, I may have seen a little bit of frame tearing still in the game with this patch, but so far there is a lot less frame tearing now, to the point where they're barely noticeable or they barely happen at all. Maybe now I can plan for sometime in the coming months to stream New Game Plus for Star Wars Jedi Survivor, New Journey Plus, since I've been waiting for and hoping that this game reaches to solid 60 frames per second before I stream the New Game Plus mode, New Journey Plus. However, even though I am excited to finally get to play Star Wars Jedi Survivor at a solid and consistent frame rate, there's just one major takeaway I have for Star Wars Jedi Survivor ever since it launched in a broken state and taking over 4 months to finally get it to run at a solid frame rate, which is while Star Wars Jedi Survivor's launch isn't the worst launch out there, in gaming history, compared to the video games that I have pre-ordered quite recently, and I've only pre-ordered a few of them, Star Wars Jedi Survivor's launch compared to those games has been the worst launch. Like, I have pre-ordered Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, and Star Wars Squadrons for the PlayStation 4, Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga on PC, and KO the Kangaroo 2022 reboot on PC. And while they've had some glitches here and there, nowhere near as much as Star Wars Jedi Survivors. So, and it has really caused me to think, I don't think I'm going to pre-order video games anymore, which, yes, all these broken launches with modern video games are not new. It's been going on with the developers and especially the publishers, forcing the developers to rush the development of these video games, launch them broken. They'll apologize to the consumers and promise that they will patch the game up in a matter of weeks or months, and that they will do better. But the cycle just keeps on happening. Whether the consumers are to blame because people keep buying these games at a broken launch, or if it's really the developer or the publisher's fault for rushing the video games just to save on extra time and money and get those sales up before they patch the games. I am still rusty at trying to make commentary videos, whether it's reading off a script or having notes to refer to on screen. I'm still rusty either way, but if you are able to make it to the end of this video, let me know in the comments down below if you are excited to play Star Wars Jedi Survivor now that the game runs at a solid frame rate on performance mode, or maybe you just decide to play on quality mode instead, even with the lower 30 frames per second. Or maybe you gave up a long time ago in trying to wait for this game to get patched and be playable at a very stable state, if that makes sense, stable state. Let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts are. And thank you for watching. Versatile Element signing out, and I shall see you in the next upload of the Star Wars Element.